Check. The Minneapolis jersey.
Dude, that whole thing is wild.
Yeah, we should talk about that tonight, or at least mention it for fun.
Yeah, why not?
I've already hit record on my end.
Rolling.
Yep, we're good. Let's go.
Cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome to probably the last USL show of the 2020 regular season. Hiya. Your favorite cheesemonger, Evan Bilal here. Joined by two of my favorite soccer friends. One, the waviest man in the St. Louis metropolitan area, the cream in your Irish coffee. It is the illustrious, the heavily tattooed Phil Grooms.
Oh, feeling good tonight because we got a
As
goal.
you should. Yeah.
Not from our team, but might as well have been.
Hey, you take it how they come, right? So,
right.
Mr. Sparks, a bottle of I don't even know, and Bush Light coming to you. He can't even drink, can
he? No, 17-year-old.
Oh God! All right, redacted. That whole thing redacted off the record.
90 plus 5, a goal to keep St. Louis in the playoffs for sure, or in the playoff race for sure.
Yes. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. Also here, it's one half of the stats department. Your favorite resident of North Carolina, who didn't leave to go to Richmond to do something that's irrelevant. Probably it's right on.
Hello, Evan. How are you? And
Oh yeah, go for it. Sorry.
I was going to say, at least tonight, I think it's been the first time at all that it's a full Eastern Conference Confidential reunion episode.
Oh,
wow. I am not drunk enough for this. I
like it,
man. No, I'm good. Little quick cheeky shout out to my dear friends at Minneapolis City for getting screwed over by a fake club started by a guy who hates poor people that botted a tournament to determine the best kit in lower league soccer. They should have won that. But, hey, I got a kit swap out of it, so.
It's a great kit. I didn't even think the other one was that good. A lot of people, I think I'm alone in that, but
it's fun when it was a Space United FC, which is a bunch of SpaceX people that formed a soccer team. Which is all well and good, but man, 400 votes in 10 minutes is not legitimate at all. Yeah, I mean, this kit that I'm wearing by Stimulus is really nice. Space United, of course, beat the Philadelphia Falcons previous, who had a trans pride flag kit that Icarus FC did, one of our sponsors. Just to be full disclosure, but that was a very good kit that lost on some shenanigans and voting wise, and now I'm over it, and we'll move on. Guys, it's been crazy this week. Actually, tonight, even earlier in the USL Championship, with a couple of strange results. I guess since you're here, Phil, we'll talk about it. Sporting Kansas City 2, Indy 11 1.
Yeah. Kansas City scored first, actually, too.
They did.
A nice counter-attack goal. Or no. I think that was actually on a corner. But then Indy did what they did well and equalized, but in 90 plus 5, I believe. What's his first name? Something Sparks?
I had it pulled up.
Bailey.
I always feel like it's Keaton Sparks, but I know
Bailey. It's Bailey Sparks.
Bailey.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. Bailey Sparks, 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Great goal. I mean,
very good hit.
Able to settle it and fire it from outside the box, I believe, and went in the top right corner.
And Andrew Carlton's goal as well. Nice.
I agree. Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of news from him. Make sure you go check out that article from Jeff Reuter about him. I like it, and I also loved Tutul Rahman. I forgot how to say his last name.
Yeah.
But I mean, he wrote a nice tweet saying, kind of equalizing where Carlton's playing in the USL against Eredivisie in the Netherlands compared to Mendes and Ledesma. I don't know how much difference there is between those leagues as far as quality of play, the style of play, but otherwise, it could be argued.
Yeah, I mean, man, Indy 11 just the possession is a meaningless stat group probably have loved Indy 11 this year.
Yeah, man.
61% of the ball, and you come away with a loss. Granted, probably would have been a draw any other night, maybe. But I mean, man, for a team with a back line of Carl Ouimet, Patty Barrett, Neville Hackshaw, and then you have Tyler Pasher, Cam Lindley, Carl Hayworth, like it. Come, what are you guys doing? What's happening?
It's just, I say it a million times a year. It's harder to win that way. If you're the better team, it's harder.
More expectation.
Yeah, and well, if the other team can just sit back and wait for a mistake, that's a lot easier than breaking down another defense. It's hard. They've been up against it this year, and then Louisville doing what they always do. Doesn't help it. Being in a group of death for sure has been pretty tough. The fact that Kansas City is the worst team in the group, and they've got as many wins as they have this year in a talented, what we assume is a talented group. It's just so crazy. I hope I haven't beaten that to death, but I'm still just befuddled by how it's gone. Yeah.
Ryan, your thoughts?
It sets up a final match of the season, basically winner-take-all fixture between Indy 11 and St. Louis. St. Louis basically needs to win to stay alive. That would then equalize both teams on a 7 wins each tiebreaker. Then it would go to goal difference, which currently Indy 11 have a +3 goal difference. St. Louis is at 0, so in essence, they need to make up that goal differential to turn around the result. But it's basically all over to St. Louis here for what could be the final time we see them in the league, unfortunately, to basically stay alive and make the playoffs. And they could very well be facing now a Hartford team that basically controls their group after a really freaky goal after at the end of their match against Evan, your Union too.
They're not mine. Get out of here.
Come on, someone's got to claim them.
No. listen. They are still listed as Bethlehem Steel on Google, and that hurt me. No. It's a different setup. Listen, here, I'll save everyone the trouble. Names you're gonna want to know: Cam Stafford, Paxton Aronson, Jack DeVries, Jack McGlynn, Cole Turner. Done.
That's what it's all about now, right?
That's all
about
you need.
The kids and what they'll become.
It's all about those kids, and that's great. But I'm worried that they keep losing all the fucking time, and no one's there to tell them they care.
Well, I thought what was interesting about tonight is that they kind of showed some grit, right? They were the old Bethlehem Steel style. We're gonna surprise you guys.
No.
That was
now imagine if they, had that consistently all throughout the years. San Diego make it 2-0, by the way.
Nice.
Live results.
Yeah, live. Yeah. 21st minute there. They just got a second one. Yeah, I mean, listen, the kids are good. There's no denying that. Paxton Aronson scores an Olympico that hits your man. I can't even try with that. Novotny, the Hartford keeper, in the face. So it was exciting. I guess it was credited off of Cohen, but yeah, it's a good little misdirection there by Pax. And then Jack McGlynn, I think, can hit just about any ball you'd want him to, and he's only like 16. So, they're not mine, but yeah, a really interesting third goal for Hartford. Union keeper goes to throw it right down Main Street, and Danny Barrera kind of gets a foot to it off a weird half scorpion kick, and it goes in. So,
and that changed everything, right, Ryan?
Which is crazy.
I'm sorry if I missed it, but
yeah. So now, that changed basically the entire group. At this point now, Hartford controls the top of the group, I believe, at the moment. Yeah, they're a point ahead of Pittsburgh with a match to go, and Hartford has New York Red Bulls 2 as their final fixture, whereas Pittsburgh has Union 2. So Hartford just needs to win their final match, and they will win the group right there. All right, so it, in essence, changed the course of the entire group. Not only that, the that will then line up that if Pittsburgh finishes 2, they now draw a very difficult and informed Louisville City in the first round of the playoffs, rather than hosting either Indy 11 or St. Louis FC, all because the Union 2 keeper Lorius Karius that goal.
Yeah.
Crazy that had an effect at all.
How mad are you if you're Pittsburgh at that, right?
Right. How and to be
and
honest,
especially after the result they just had against Hartford last Saturday of a 1-0 defeat. I can, if Pittsburgh's season basically ends at the hands of Louisville or in the playoffs for that first round match, we can basically trace it back to this 1 week of USL action as the root cause of it all.
Yep.
It's just crazy that they're not heads and shoulders above everyone else in that group.
Well, and I think it's funny, and I don't know, maybe Hartford took notice, but I think, what was it, after the first time, because like Hartford was rolling, then they came up against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh and got smacked. And then all the Riverhounds fans started talking like all kinds of shit about how Hartford wasn't actually good. And now, yeah, it kind of sucks that was the goal that might have doomed you to, quote unquote, doomed you to playing Louisville in the first round. But there you go.
Yeah, since Saturday, September 12th, when Pittsburgh beat Hartford at home 5-0, Hartford went on a 5-match unbeaten run, winning 4 of their last 5, conceding just 4 goals in that time.
They have some real weird wins and weird losses. Hartford does, I'd say Pittsburgh's a little more steady. And especially compared to last year in the beginning of the year, we were worried about Pittsburgh because they were on such a bad start. I'd say they started really hot this year. And perhaps if you're worried about Pittsburgh, it's just because of the streakiness of the playoffs where you want to go in hot. And they're not necessarily hot right now. But, I'm looking at their results in the last few weeks. They've lost twice to teams who had red cards.
Yeah.
It's very strange. It's a very strange situation. A very different Pittsburgh Riverhounds this year. A very different Lily team is, I guess, what I want to say, and in a lot of different ways. So hopefully you're listening to Mongols, so you can figure that out as well.
Yeah. And then
had a match.
Yeah.
That was a weird situation.
New York Red Bull 2 and North Carolina FC play in Richmond, Virginia, of all places, the home of the Kickers. Partly because in a weird college football FBS era, we need to prove something to the computer. North Carolina needed to play and win a game to prove that they could have the points to make the playoffs. And they did. They beat Red Bull 3-0 today. Yeah.
I had asked Tony this, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm curious, when was the last time in USL, either USL Pro or USL Championship, that we had a neutral field game played in the regular season? I don't know the answer, and I'm trying to look through like just all the historical results at when this possibly could have occurred. Because I feel like this is...
Yeah,
because this is a neutral venue, quote unquote, even though NCFC is technically hosting it, I guess, since they're, closer than New York Red Bulls 2 to Richmond. But like, it seems like this has been something that has happened before in USL. It's just like an odd scheduling this year. But obviously this match had been scheduled as a result of Loudoun United canceling their season.
Yeah. I mean, good on North Carolina, I guess. If you're going to go through the trouble of organizing all that, you better win. And they did.
Although now it's all over to Charlotte, basically, to determine the fate of NCFC for the remainder of the season. NCFC has a match in hand, but currently being 6 points out with 2 games to go. They basically need to win out and make up the wins and goal differential to ensure that if Charlotte or Birmingham both pick up wins or just even a result that'll knock out NCFC.
Yeah. I mean, I guess credit to North Carolina for figuring something out. Credit to Red Bull for taking it too. I suppose Red Bull could have just been, no, we're all right, but they obliged.
Get the experience.
I suppose, yeah. Not going to kill anyone to play a game, I guess. But man.
In fact, it actually worked out because today's match for Red Bull 2 would have been against Loudon, so they would have been in the area anyways.
That's fair. And then the other one today, if you were me earlier tonight, you looked down at your phone and you saw the Charleston Battery at one point, I believe, we're leading 2-0.
3-1 at
2
one
goals
point
by Nick Daly. Then you look down at your phone, you see it's 3-3 late on. And then you see Miguel Gonzalez scores in the 88th minute. Miami FC, a dramatic 4-3 win over the Charleston Battery. And Group H gets thrown into the fire even farther.
Miami's the Miami FC's second goal in this match was really fantastic.
Yeah,
that was a really well done score. But with this result, with Charleston just having the one match left against Tampa, unless they're able to make it up somehow, Tampa would have pretty much sealed the group win.
I think I saw
anyway, but
I think I saw Matt from the Unused Substitutes on Twitter tweet out right after that Charleston game that I think a couple people, I'll look stupid tomorrow, it'll be fine. I think a couple people in the Rowdies organization were told or think they were told that they won the group tonight. Which I could see that being a thing. I know it's 10 at night by the time we get onto these, and no one in their right mind is going to be around on the phone to answer that. So we'll see what happens with that tomorrow. Charleston Battery absolutely choke away a victory here against Miami FC, which is unfortunate. And
unlike as of late as well.
Very much unlike them as of late. They have been one of the most consistently good teams in maybe the league recently. Right. But leave it to Vincent Bezecourt to hit a beauty for Miami's second goal, like Ryan said, and then Seba Velasquez and Miguel Gonzalez. For what it's worth, Miami have guys that can attack, that can really, really put dudes on skates. And honestly, actually, both teams here are unlucky to not score before that 88th minute winner. I think both teams, either side of 70 minutes, had a chance to put it away. I know Dante Marini, I think, almost found, who was it? Arthur Bosua, maybe, at the far post on a cross that would have been a put away goal. And then obviously, Lloyd Sam, I think, had a chance for Miami late, but yeah, 4-3 for the Miami FC, and Charleston rue their missed chances, among other things here.
You have to wonder. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you actually have a former Battery player, Romario Williams, getting the first goal for the Miami FC in that match as well.
And he had the assist on the last, I think. Something.
Man, I thought we'd see a lot of that this year.
Yeah.
Not as much as I hoped, but what I was about to say was Paul Douglas. I think if he was in charge the entire year, it would look different. They have improved since he's taken over for sure, in both defense and just in general.
I mean, listen, you could be a lot worse off, I think, than Lance Roseboom and Hassan and Dom as your center backs.
Right. Come on, yeah.
With Bezecourt.
When I realized Dom was there, because he didn't play the first several games.
Right.
I don't know if his injury or if they're just not too smart about their lineup. I don't know, but man, yeah, great team. next year, I think they're the candidates for like bounce back and be killers kind of
Can we reminisce ever so slightly and remember when Hassan and Dom put Cincinnati in his pocket? That was a good time.
He's on loan from Cincy, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, they bought him.
I didn't think they bought. Well, Cincy bought him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they drafted him in the expansion draft.
Expansion draft, yes.
Yeah, because he put your man was it GB Fall?
What'd he do to GB?
Or was it Fernando Adi? No, it was Fernando Adi.
Yeah, it was Adi.
It was when since he had Adi and he put Adi in his pocket for like 90 minutes. And then they're like, oh, and so they used the first round pick to draft Ndom, which I wanted them to pick Ndom anyway because I think Haas is great. But
yeah,
I was like, not the first pick, guys. Come on. Anyway.
Right.
So I think the Miami FC got dealt a rather difficult group against two really established teams within the league. And when we get back to next season to having a more normal league structure, I have air quotes around that, more normal, because we'll see how next season will be set up. I feel like they'll be certainly more improved, especially now that they got just kind of acclimated to how USL is run, what to expect for this season. And it'll be interesting to see how the Miami FC plays going forward.
Very much so. Rooting for them.
Guess looking westward, FC Tulsa picks up a 3-2 victory tonight over OKC Energy, and it makes Group D rather interesting because currently RGV is beating Austin Bold at the moment. And I feel like that's one Austin Bold really needs to win this game to kind of keep their playoff hopes alive, as this will be their 15th match of the season as of right now. And their final match of the year would be against San Antonio FC, sitting 3 points out of FC Tulsa. And they need basically a win and to make up the goal differential to stay alive in this instance. But FC Tulsa did themselves a real favor tonight, winning 3-2.
I think we should give Pony a little credit because I think he was talking up Austin Bold, and they had those problems in the beginning of the season with COVID and roster size. And I think we all underestimated Bold, but they've really been solid both years. And Pony's been calling him out from the start, and he hasn't let down on it. Tulsa, I think we wanted to have a better year, but look at San Antonio. I don't know if we saw their attack becoming what it became this year.
I mean, in fairness, like I think Tulsa, for essentially being an expansion club, has done more than fine. And I think we also have to realize that no one really got a proper year out of this.
Right.
So the fact that,
that goes across the board tonight, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, the fact that Loyal have done well enough, and Tulsa have done well, and Austin are doing well, and San Antonio has been as good as they have been. I think obviously you can make the narrative whatever you want with any team, really, except for maybe the MLS2 sides. But I think you should get more credit if you've done well this year, and that's across the board. And you should not be raked over the coals as hard as you would be if this was a normal 2020 season, if you didn't live up to expectations.
I agree. It had to be something ridiculous, like the Miami FC firing. That was pretty warranted, but everyone else, I think, deserves a little space here. I just said that the Miami FC is going to be one of those bounce back candidates for next season. This being such a short season, and what it is, the fact that San Diego turned around, that loss kicking them out of the playoffs aside, this team looks incredible now. Like they've already bounced back. They don't even need to wait till next year. They're just gonna if they can hit the running and maintain.
Like that Rangers partnership for them is huge.
That's for Orange County.
That is for Orange County. But I mean,
it's because of Alan. It's because Alan used to be OC.
That's right. Yeah, well, and there's only 95 fucking teams in California. Sorry, guys. someone wants to pick not black as their home kit, that would be awesome. You play in California. Maybe we don't go with black as the home. Think of the players.
What you meant to say, it's the Landon Donovan connection is what's doing
Listen, anytime you have the guy that the MVP award for the top flight league is named after as your head coach, there's got to be something there.
Yeah.
He looks weird in a suit. I'm going to say it. They've cut to him a couple times in the broadcast tonight.
Don't you feel like you're kind of watching a like a romantic chick flick? And he's
with
like
Landon Donovan in a suit? No,
Yeah,
I feel like he's like an
90s
ancillary character
early-
for an Adam Sandler rom-com, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. He could do it.
Yeah. He's got that like I'm kind of slobby, which is really funny because
Exactly.
you know, he's a hell of an athlete, but he's got that kind of like disheveled look that I'm not really.
He gives me this shoot, what's the movie Bottle Rocket? Owen and shoot, what are those guys' names? Hold on. I'm almost there.
Owen
It's
and
West-
Luke Wilson?
Yeah. He gives me
How did
the
I get
Owen
that,
and Luke
man?
Wilson vibe.
I must talk to you a lot if I got Owen and
Yeah.
Luke Wilson out of you just saying Bottle Rocket and Owen.
Clues. Gives me that vibe.
Oh,
The LA
Troy.
Galaxy coaching tree grows. You have Donovan in San Diego, Gerard up in Glasgow.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Connection, right?
Wow.
Took me a second.
Wow.
I love it.
LA Galaxy legend Steven Gerrard.
Does John Terry count then too?
And I count
I don't
Andrea
know that.
Pirlo as an NYCFC legend, and he's managing Juventus. I laughed with that Pirlo hiring that it took them 6 hours and 17 minutes between firing Sarri and hiring Pirlo.
Listen,
They
if you
could
have
have-
your guy in the wings, you have your guy in the wings. I don't know.
They
what
could
to
have
say.
watched the entire Star Wars prequels, basically gone from episode 1 to
Sure.
Palpatine finding Anakin on Mustafar in episode 3, and
Oh,
then
spoilers.
deciding
What a
that
timestamp.
yes, I had gone back through and watched Revenge of the Sith for this fact alone.
Like yesterday?
No, I have this in mind, but obviously when you go back through and watch Revenge of the Sith, at any point you have to finish out the movie, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
But I guess back to more USL stuff. LA Galaxy 2 and Orange County is currently 1-1, which makes it interesting for that group because with San Diego being at 26 points, live table as of right now with a 2-0 result over Phoenix Rising, current score line.
Yeah.
And you have Los Dos at 24 and OC at 22 points, each one with just one match left to go. So there's still a small chance that San Diego could make it if either one of those teams drop their final result.
Apologies. I thought they were out of it. Look
Yeah,
at that.
no, I think it's I think they showed a graphic which was funny because I tried to read it and then got distracted. It's like if San Diego wins and LA loses.
Yeah, Los
San
Dos'
Diego's
final
in.
game is against Phoenix, so it's very likely that they could drop that result.
Yeah.
And if this current result holds that it's a draw, OC cannot make the playoffs, so they would be out, assuming that San Diego also wins. So there's still a very outside possibility that San Diego Loyal could find themselves in the playoffs. They just need certain results to break their way and to have no victor or from this match.
And again, you know, I shook my head every time Pony was like, you never know with LA Galaxy what they're going to do. And I was just like, get out of here. You know,
Sure.
like they're not going to be meaningful in this group. And look at them. They are. They
Certainly.
totally are. And they've had an effect, whether or not they make the playoffs, they've had a very strong effect on this group.
I guess looking ahead to potential really fun playoff matches as of live table, well, we could be seeing a San Antonio, New Mexico first round match in the playoffs.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That
I like
would
that
be
one a lot.
really,
Oh my
really
gosh.
fun. And even then, you'd also get an El Paso FC Tulsa or Austin Bold match out of the other side of that part of the bracket.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think San Antonio would just wipe New Mexico clean, depending on where it's played.
But
If I were
imagine
to
if they had to, but then San Antonio, imagine if they had to run into El Paso in the very next match.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
a tough, weird mix. Very different teams.
That would, I honestly think in like any other year, that would be a Western Conference final. But in this type of season, we're getting that as a Western Conference semifinal. And you'd see a team like Reno, Sacramento, Phoenix, or San Diego, to name a current live top four, making it all the way into the final.
Mm. So crazy. What's the deal with Phoenix? Any thoughts on that? I know it's the kind of the shoring up of the defense that needs to happen. I'm just kind of curious of perhaps they're going to get hot here at the end of the season, but I still feel like they've been inconsistent, consistently inconsistent, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah.
29 points, so they have the same amount of points as El Paso at the moment, and currently only Reno and San Antonio have more points than them in the Western Conference.
I think it's gonna sound funny to say part of their problem. When you have that many players and you have that many guys, like just literally that many people, or at least you have what feels like that many people, you I would feel so compelled if I was in the coach's shoes to ride the hot hand all the time, kind of at the expense of chemistry.
Yeah.
But I think that might be some of what's happening. That and in a way it feels like they try to snap up one or two guys every year from teams in the Western Conference that really do damage against them, just to kind of
Sentimar being one of them.
Santi, hiya. Get that paper, my friend. And like and so when you're talking about San Antonio and New Mexico playing each other in the first round this year, my first thought was, man, I'd love to see this year's San Antonio play New Mexico from last year with like Sandoval and Moore together, just to see, like that dynamic of like just a really potent offensive, attacking, fluid team play the more defensive minded, more defensive minded than New Mexico was last year, San Antonio. So yeah, I mean, Phoenix is fine. Phoenix will always be fine. Phoenix is very much the Louisville of the Western Conference, in that it does not matter at all who they have on their team or what they do, because they'll find ways to get points, and they always have enough impact players that they'll hurt you regardless of who's on the field. But I'd love to see just a touch more parity as far as big name guys on the Western Conference side of things.
I think it would be interesting, any potential match that they would have if Phoenix ran into Reno in the Western Conference semifinals, as Phoenix lost to Reno in the regular season. That was up in Reno, and that's certainly not an easy place to go in and play. And obviously the concern arises from Reno that they haven't played as many, or they haven't played the same caliber of teams as the rest of the Western Conference. But it's like, that's a side that I think can have a very possible track into the Western Conference final if no one's paying attention.
Yeah, they played in El Paso, or in Reno for that one. I mean, Russell's a good coach, and if he's playing another offensive team, I think, or attacking team, I think he stands a chance every time.
Looks like Phoenix got a goal before the break, so San Diego now 2-1.
Oh, it's getting tight, and it's not the half yet. Not the half yet. So,
guess we'll be watching the second half of that game when we're done.
It's a big one,
yeah. Me, I will.
I'm enjoying this live podcast, if you will, on just going through the results as they happen.
It's kind of nice. Unsustainable, but very nice nonetheless.
Well, completely unsustainable, but very nice.
All two viewers are really enjoying it right now.
Hey, man. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's yeah. I don't know how to end this puppy. Phil, do you have a prediction for St. Louis coming up? Are they able to do it? Can they keep those colors and that crest on a shirt in a game for one more match longer than they're, I guess, by all intents and purposes supposed to? Maybe.
I'll say two things. Is that they're the little guy and they're about to go out, and so I think anyone who's not an Indy native is pretty much rooting for St. Louis, and I think there's something to that. There's some juju in the mix there, but otherwise, they are exactly the kind of team that can beat a team like Indy. I mean, it's not like they're going to go at Indy and attack them from from word go. They're going to sit back and be careful because they know how dangerous they are, and they're going to look for opportunities just like Kansas City did tonight. But let's be honest, in my opinion, they're more talented than Kansas City. And so be all the more dangerous. I think Indy might be more careful. And I really do. I just feel like the way things have gone down, the terrible luck St. Louis has always had on the field. Maybe tonight was a turning point. Maybe we see something good for St. Louis on Saturday night. And it's what I'm rooting for as a St. Louis fan. I want to see my boys go out strong, and they've had a good season. So, I'll be happy that this game actually means something in general. I hope I won't be too angry at the end, no matter what the result is. Like I was in the last game on Saturday, it was a rough game. I don't know if anyone watched it, but the ref had a pretty strong hand in that one. It's just weird. It was a weird one for sure, and I wasn't happy. I hope I leave Saturday happy.
Ryan, any final thoughts? I actually thought of something. So after you go, I'll take a crack.
Just interested to see how tonight's results play out in the Western Conference and how it can impact the playoff picture going forward.
I want to say 4 and some change years ago, a friend of ours collectively and someone who had just very recently started a podcast about his local soccer team DM me on Twitter, and I was able to give him a long list of people who I very much liked who covered other teams in the league that his team was playing in. A couple weeks later, I ended up on that show, and that show continued to exist and record and be wonderful through highs and lows, through weird Irish coaches coming in, through weird racist ownership groups, and Ben Goshorn and Alex Warren never quite got the credit that they should have for Talking Jacks. And they announced that this episode coming up this weekend on Saturday is their final episode. Go do the thing that Ben wants everyone to do on their Twitter if you are so inclined, if you listen to any of their shows, if you listen to anything to do with Hugh Roberts or anything like that, because those guys are awesome. I am incredibly lucky to call Ben a friend. I think we all are. He's a wonderful, wonderful person. And that was a wonderful, wonderful podcast. And I hope that they are able to now enjoy their weekends. Now that they're not subjecting themselves to losing their minds talking about a soccer team or what have you. So I'm sure I will do a little voicemail-y bit for their show. But I figured, at least on this one, to Ben and Alex and Chris, the Talking Jacks crew, you guys are awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for helping us out and showing up here occasionally and just covering the Charlotte Independents, who certainly have never gotten the amount of coverage that they probably should have. So it's a very thankless job, this whole independent media thing, and I'm not playing a tiny violin for myself, but I'm playing a tiny violin for Ben and Alex and Chris, who do a hell of a job. And Ben will still be around, and he's actually currently writing a whole thing about how his cynicism in soccer grew, which is really exciting because I like Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah, so I just wanted to take the time to thank those guys for the shift that they put in for us, and tell them to not be strangers for sure. So there you go. There it is.
Well done, sir.
So yeah, go. Also, the only soccer sticker I've ever gotten with faces of people on it. So good on them for making me slap Ben's face on my laptop sticker that I think I ended up taking the MLS draft that year. So there you go. Good job, bud. Anyway, hey, thanks to Icarus FC, Roughneck Scarves, Beautiful Game Network podcast for sponsoring this. Go check out the 925 podcasts we have, down from 926 in light of the recent news about Talking Jacks, on bgn.fm, BGN written as well, uslnews.com. Anything else you could possibly want to know about soccer, it's all there. So go do that. Until next week, we'll talk to you guys later.